Ma'am, I'm going to need you to step back and take your hands off the gate right now. That's what the officer shouted when he pulled up to our old lake cabin. Red and blue lights washing over the pines, the water, everything. My wife Laura was standing there frozen, a shiny new lock dangling from her hand, screwdriver half raised, while beside her, Lorraine. Yeah, we called her HOA. Karen was already yelling into her phone, waving her clipboard around like she was air traffic control for all things petty. She's breaking and entering. She changed the gate lock. "This is HOA property," Lorraine shrieked, still on the line with 911. "But here's the kicker, right? That gate, our gate, the land, the cabin, all ours. Paid for, signed, sealed, delivered 4 years ago. But there was my wife about to be arrested for tampering with property she owned, and Lorraine looking like the cat who ate the canary. That was when everything spun out of control. You think these things start big, but nah, it's always the little things. Little people, too." Let me back up a sec. This whole mess really started months before the afternoon we decided to spend summer at the lake. I'm Kevin, by the way. Drop where you're watching from in the comments because you won't believe how this ends. Anyway, our cabin was this old place at the end of a gravel road surrounded by pines where the frogs are louder than your phone and the air smells like sap and promise. Laura called it her dream spot, and for a while it actually was until Lorraine decided to make it her life's work to run us off. First time Lorraine strutted up, it was just a bark that we couldn't park where I was unloading deck boards. Violation of Article 12, Section C. She snapped, flipping through her HOA Bible. No welcome to the lake, nothing. I thought she was just uptight, but man, she was something else. We tried to be neighborly, went to a meeting, brought cookies, smiled at everyone, but Lorraine had decided we were outsiders and that was that. Things got weird quick after we installed a smart lock on our gate, mostly to keep out the raccoons, if I'm honest, but nosy people too. Not even a week later, Laura found scratch marks on the keypad. Somebody had tried to break in. We replaced it, added a little camera, thinking that'd be the end of it. But you know how it goes when you live next to a Karen, it's never the end. Suddenly, we're getting violation letters. Flag too big, fire pit too close to the water, dog barks too loud. Duke, our old golden, he can barely muster a snore. We knew it was personal, but we tried to let it go until I caught Lorraine herself by our fence with a pair of bolt cutters one evening. I yelled, she ran, but we caught it on camera. Still, Laura said, "Let's just change the lock again, something tamper-proof, and call it done." So that Saturday, while I was in town, Laura went out to swap the lock. 10 minutes in, here comes Lorraine in her golf cart, screeching to a halt. "You didn't get HOA approval," she shrilled, and before Laura could explain, Lorraine was already dialing the police, shouting that my wife was committing destruction of property. Next thing you know, sirens are echoing through the woods and Laura's calling me, voice shaking. "Kevin, they're here, please come." I ditched my groceries, sped back, not knowing what I'd find. There's Laura standing there with the officer, Lorraine, smirking behind them, telling the cop, "That woman's a squatter." My wife a squatter, like we hadn't bought that land ourselves. The cop asked for paperwork. Laura, hands up, said, "It's all in Kevin's name, but I'm his wife." Lorraine, practically glowing, spat. "She has no legal claim. She could be anyone." Man, I could feel my blood boiling as I pulled up. "Sir, do you live here?" the officer asked. "Yes, I do. That's my wife. This is our property. And Lorraine here has been letting herself in without asking." Lorraine shot back, "This is community access. I have a key." I pulled out my phone, showed the officer the county map with our parcel clearly marked. "See that? Our land, our gate. The HOA line's way back there." The cop studied the map, took my ID, started to calm down. Lorraine, though, wouldn't quit. "That gate's always been community," she insisted. But the officer finally had enough. "Ma'am, if this checks out, you have no right to be on their property." Lorraine's jaw dropped, but she turned on her heel, stormed off, muttering about lawsuits. The cop apologized, said HOA disputes got messy, and left us to it. Laura was still shaking as I helped her finish with the lock. "I thought they were going to arrest me," she whispered. Next morning, HOA violation letter. Unauthorized modifications, $500 a day until we remove the new lock. Laura just laughed, bitter, tired. They're doubling down. So we did too. I called Rick, my old friend, who's now a real estate lawyer, and asked him to dig into the HOA, especially Lorraine. That's when things got darker. Neighbors we barely knew started avoiding us. We found a typed note in our mailbox telling us to tone down the drama. 3 nights later, someone tried to cut through our gate at 1 a.m., 2 men with bolt cutters. I scared them off, got a partial plate, called the sheriff. "This isn't HOA business. This is criminal," he said. No kidding. Rick called back the next day with a bombshell. Lorraine's not even the legit HOA president. Her term expired 2 years back. No new election, no legal standing. All her fines, all her threats, worthless. And then came the threats. An anonymous text, "Stop digging, or your little cabin won't be so peaceful." That night, a knock on the door. Mr. Whitmore, the old man who lived down the lane looking scared out of his mind. He laid out an envelope on our table. Meeting minutes, fake petitions, checks to Lorraine from some private security firm. Even proof the board had faked votes to change property lines. "They're running people off," he whispered. "Not just you. You were supposed to be easy." He wouldn't even go out the front door. "Don't let her call another emergency board meeting," he warned. "That's when things disappear, locks, cameras, people." He left through the woods, and suddenly, Laura and I realized we were in deeper than we ever thought. That night, the power went out. Then 2 men showed up at our gate with gas cans. They tried to torch it, but Laura set off the car alarm and they bolted. The sheriff promised to investigate, and I gave him Whitmore's documents. If they're running an intimidation ring, it could go federal, but it'll take time. Not comforting. Next morning, leave, or we will paint it on our garage. That night we saw on our own security feed 2 masked men dragging Mr. Whitmore from his porch. Laura begged me not to go, but I ran through the woods to help. Caught up just as they were shoving him in a van. I made enough noise, the men ran, and Laura had called the deputies who arrived just in time. Whitmore Brews told us they want my safe. Proof Lorraine changed the property lines. She added your land illegally. But by dawn, his shed was burned, his papers torched except for a melted lockbox with a flash drive inside. "Everything's on there," he said, "videos, emails, fake votes." We handed it to the sheriff, but as the sun rose, we found a new message on our door. "Turn it in and we'll turn you in." This time they left a dead squirrel pinned next to it. Laura cried. I was furious. That night our phone and internet went out. We watched from the window as a mob torches and all gathered at the edge of our land, Lorraine leading them. "You've stolen HOA property. We demand a search," she yelled. "You're not the police," Laura shouted back as I scrambled for my old satellite phone, called the sheriff's direct line. Deputies showed up just as the mob was about to break in, formed a barrier, and finally arrested Lorraine for harassment, trespassing, fraud. She tried to escape in the chaos using a smoke bomb, but they caught her. You'd think it ended there, but nah. Next day, a note in our mailbox. She's not alone. Then an old man showed up, Arthur Kellerman, the founder of the HOA. "Lorraine did to me what she did to you. Faked votes, kicked me out, threatened my family. She's been running this con for decades. That flash drive, it's only half the story." He handed us a cassette. "Take this to the Attorney General. Don't trust the sheriff. Some of his deputies are on her payroll." Arthur disappeared that night. His truck was found miles away, door open and gone. But he'd left a second cassette at our place just in case. And then, no joke, Lorraine's face flickered on our TV grainy, saying, "You think this is about a cabin. This is about the whole lake." She'd planned to flip the entire lakefront, force out owners, sell to developers through her shell companies. Arthur's cassette laid it all out. Proof Lorraine's land grab was illegal. The lake was zoned for public use. We snuck out, found her second property, and with Laura recording everything, found enough files to bust the whole scam wide open. Lorraine caught us, tried to taser me, but Duke, our golden, tackled her just as the cops rolled up. Our old neighbor, Tom. Yeah, he was in on it too, broke down when it all came out. He only wanted his kids' tuition paid. Weeks later, Lorraine was indicted, the board dissolved, the land deal blocked. But sometimes at night, Laura still looks at the trees and whispers she's not alone, and I remind her neither are we. So what do you think, was justice served? Was the law on our side, or did we just get lucky? Drop your thoughts below. This kind of fight, right or wrong, happens everywhere, and I want to know where you stand.